Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are super excited here at the ME Studios live from Eatontown. Our very first time ever, not only getting involved at a local level with the political voices. If this is your very first time watching, my name is Ali Madawi. I am an Eatontown resident. My children go to Eatontown schools. My wife and I met in Eatontown, lived in Eatontown, so we care about this town. Today, my angle, if you will, is to do everything that I can is to bring those topics or subject matters that are important. I do know that most of us listen to the news cycles, like me, like you. There are things that catch our attention and things that bother us. There are things that we say, "What am I watching?" And others that say, "Just turn it off." But today is all about Eatontown, and these gentlemen that I've been watching over the last couple of months, and specifically that gentleman on the other side that has had, I wanted to say this in camera, has had his hands on me in his physical therapy many times that I hurt myself, and he has been nothing but kind and genuine. And we have another gentleman here on my right, Bob Berg, a career law enforcement, someone that has a lot of greatness and core values that I share. So I wanted to open this forum not only to our local residents, but also to you, so you can hear the main things that matter. So please. So as we are ready to get this party started, I would love nothing more but to start with our candidates. Give them about a minute or so just to kind of share a little bit about who they are, their background, and why were they crazy enough to say, "I'm going to run for public office." Because let's call it for what it is. It's burning yourself, it's scrutiny, and we are already busy as is. And to take on certain things that you really don't have to, you could just go back and watch the game, but they decided to take a step further. So let's start with our very first candidate, Mr. Kevin Gonzalez. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Ali. Thank you for having us, and thank you everyone for coming. So a quick 1 minute, I guess, introduction is I've lived in Eatontown. My wife and I got married in 1996, and we wanted to see where we were going to, raise our family. So we moved into an apartment right in Eatontown. We were on Wedgwood Circle, actually, for a year. After being there for a year, looking for houses, we were looking in the area. We loved Eatontown. Eatontown had that hometown feel that we were looking for, and to raise a family. So that's what we did. We actually bought a house in Eatontown. We've been in our current house since 1997. And we have three beautiful boys. They're older. One's 27. He's in the military. My middle son is here now. He has a job and he graduated. And my youngest is a senior in college. Very proud. And I also own a business in town, Activity First Physical Therapy, shameless plug. And I've been there for just about 20 years. I've been a physical therapist for over 30. So, and I just want to help Eatontown. Eatontown has been going in a direction that I am not comfortable with over the past few years. I was on the council, and prior to that, I was on the Board of Ed. So, and seeing the way it's heading lately, I think I can make a difference. I think, we should have different voices up there. And that's why I'm running again.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Bob Berg.
Yes, my name is Bob Berg, and I love Eatontown also, and just want to make it, better than it is right now. I was a police officer in Atlantic City, and from there, I came to Eatontown. My kids are here, and I have 6 grandchildren, and I have a beautiful wife sitting in the front row here. So we decided to make our home in Eatontown, and I want to keep Eatontown. I want to make Eatontown better because my grandchildren will be around Eatontown. They'll be in my house one day. It's going to be given to them. And I want a nice place for them to live. So with that being said, I also, right now, I'm working with Oceanport as a DPW guy, and I do the facilities and parks. So I have a little bit experience here. I taught at one time. I graduated from Glassboro State College, which is now Rowan, and went into teaching at the high school that I graduated from, into then law enforcement. So I have a pretty extensive background, and I believe I'm qualified for the council position, as is Kevin.
Awesome. If we had those polls that you see on, national debates, you mentioned your bride, Kevin didn't. You're up right now. Yeah, just
my lovely wife is sitting in the second row.
One point. I see what you did there. Yeah.
I did not put my hands on you.
That's 2 for 2. There you go. I'm sure that's gonna go somewhere on social media. All right. Well, we'll stay with you since you're not as excited about putting your hands on me. National Republicans often talk about restoring trust and accountability on a local council level. Talk to us a little bit about what do you see in some of the steps that we have to take to reinstate trust? Because I'll be honest with you, me myself, I have never ever even heard of the name of the mayor. No disrespect, sir. You know, I know you're watching. Until you brought it to my attention of what really you educated me and got me involved. So there is this huge gap between the residents and what's actually happening. So how would you help restore that trust?
The big thing is that the mayor is a nice guy, but he's just not being transparent with the people of Eatontown. He tells the people what they want to hear, and what they want to hear is not actually what's going on. It's what he wants, what his agenda is. So my thing is, and I was talking to Kevin about this. I want to get a newsletter up and put a newsletter out, every once in a while for the people of Eatontown, so the people of Eatontown will know what's going on. And if they see something in the newsletter that catches their attention or whatever, and it's either positive or negative, you come to the council meeting and we can discuss it. But we definitely need openness, we need conversation, and we need to be transparent.
I did a little bit of homework, and the word is in the current local administration, there's a lot of commingling or double dipping when it comes to committees, when it comes to votes. There are people who have the same addresses, or if you will, put their cars in the same driveway, and there's supposed to be a certain level of integrity in the process, which me as an outsider looking in, I'm like, wait a minute, you're getting 2 for 1, and how would you actually pass certain things? As a matter of fact, I believe right now in the Eatontown administrative office, there's 5 Democrats to 1 Republican when it comes to vote. So by default, any person would say, well, that's an automatic one-sided element. Kevin, I'm going to go to you because you didn't talk about your wife earlier. If Mrs. Gonzalez decides, next year, hey, I'm going to be running, and it would put you at an advantage, if you will, in terms of the 2 votes for 1 and advancing your agenda. And this is a hard one to talk about, but it's important, right? Like, if we're going to talk about accountability, let's start with ourselves. Is Mrs. Gonzalez not running, or are you stepping down, or how would that work out?
Well, first of all, I think that my wife would be excellent. She's involved in politics as much as she can be, and she supports me wholeheartedly. But if she came to me and said, Kevin, I want to run next year, I would ask her not to. I would say, hey, look, when it's time for me, and I'm assuming I got elected, and it will, if I were to lose election or not run 1 year, then of course she could run. And I think my wife would do a great job. I think Bob's wife would do a great job. Carol would do great as well. We already have something like that going on in the council right now. We have a council member and the mayor that they're involved, and they're in one address. And when you think about it, there is votes coming from one address. There's no dispersiveness there, and I just think that's wrong. I really think that, to be honest with you, in doing research, I think it's actually unethical. So to answer your question, no, I don't think I would ask my wife to run, or I wouldn't support her, right when I was on there, and I would ask for her to wait. And that brings me to the committees as well, if I can talk about that for a second. We have, besides the council, we have 22 committees in town. And out of those 22 committees, there are 60% of those committees have a member of the governing body or their spouse on those committees. There's actually, out of those committees, there are 2 residents that aren't even Eatontown residents, and they're on our committees.
Let me just push on that, because that's a crazy thing to say, just to even hear out loud. Is that, despite your feeling about it, or whether you think it's ethical or not, is there a certain statute of limitations that does not allow that, or is the system set up to allow that? Like, where do we stand with that from a legal standpoint?
We'd have to check, but just on the surface, you have an Eatontown committee, commissioner, board, and that seat is being filled by a non-Eatontown resident. That doesn't sound like that should happen. And also, when I'm talking about these committees, there are 33 members on a citizen leadership forum who have requested to be posted on one of those committees. And some of those members have been waiting some of those residents have been waiting since 2019. And they still haven't gotten the call. And there are plenty of vacancies on those same committees. There's also a councilwoman up there that when she was elected, she was a member of the senior citizen housing board. When she got elected, usually you step down as that member, and then if the mayor appoints you as a liaison, you're back on that committee as a liaison. So she refused to recuse her seat. So now she's serving 2 seats. She's there as a member, but also as a council liaison. Now, for that one committee, there are 2 members who are waiting for appointment. And they've been waiting, I think, since 2021 or 2022. So now you're taking a voice away from one of these residents, or one of a resident who wants to participate in Eatontown's future, and they're being locked.
So again,
I think that's wrong.
Permission to push on that.
Sure.
Is there a statute that allows that, or not? Or do we have to look into it?
I think that's something we have to look into. But again, on the surface, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound right.
No,
it shouldn't happen.
Mr. Berg, GOP leaders are from a federal level, talk a lot about fiscal responsibility and, keep the government out of my pockets and all these different elements that we hear. Where would you prioritize Eatontown's budget, assuming you get elected? What are the first things you're looking at? Because you stated in few occasions, as far as the current administration, there is really no common sense spending, or it's just like wing it and hopefully it'll work out. How are you prioritizing those budgets?
The way it works now is the mayor has 5 people under his little gun there. And when he wants something, they just say yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's why the council has to be balanced out. And I mean, even when Kevin and I get in, it's going to be a 3-3 situation,
which is not necessarily a bad thing. Either way, it's not a bad thing, Yeah.
But then the mayor he's got the time to vote.
So now you have to document your vote.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And he's not going to. He doesn't like to do that. So anyway, it's a good thing when we get in. Now, as far as being fiscally responsible, I found out something factual yesterday, that New Jersey, in the 283 years that they've been doing the budgets, all right, in 238 years, it's gone up to 33 billion. That was the number they had.
In the whole length?
Up to, in that span.
Okay.
33 billion. Corzine and his Democratic Party, in 8 years, added $27 billion more. So just in 8 years, the Democrats...
We've outdone more than a quarter century. Or rather, a quarter century. What am I saying? 238 years. Yeah, 2 centuries and a half almost.
So, I mean, in 8 years, they spent $27 billion.
So is your point that trickles down as far as a strategy and a mindset and mentality, or how is that relevant to Eatontown, if I may ask?
Because Eatontown, like I said, they have 5 Democrats on the council, and when the mayor wants something, he gets it, and it's just it's a democratic thing, and something, it's one of those things where we Kevin and I have to put a stop to it. We have to, do sensible spending. And the mayor can't get everything that he wants. And he's going to think about it twice when we're there, because he's not going to want the no with Maria. And, he'll think twice before spending where he should be.
Kevin, please go ahead.
I just want to say that.
Yeah.
I think you meant Corzine. I agree with you 100%, but you meant going back for Murphy.
Murphy, right. No, Corzine would be a little, right. But I'm talking about Murphy in just those 8 years.
Yeah.
It's $27 billion. And like I said, it just trickles down to like
that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call leadership. When you get your partners back, no matter what camera's on or not. And for that, Because most people will let that slide and say no one saw it, just keep moving, keep on dancing. But I do appreciate the fact that you got each other's back, on that aspect. Let me go to you, sir.
Yeah.
Tariffs is a conversation that eats us all.
Mhm.
Every day you hear a different country, a different tariff, a different impact, though that is at a federal level. You gentlemen have the opportunity and the privilege to oversee some of the monetary things that impact us, such as taxes, such as pilots that we hear a lot about and we're learning from on a day-to-day basis on social media, such as what's happening with Netflix, what's happening with the mall. So can you help me understand on what is your game plan, God willing, if you are elected, to figure out how to ease some of those pain points for Eatontown residents? Though you can't control the tariffs, but what
Right.
can you do for Eatontown residents?
I mean, right now you have the tariffs, which again, Eatontown has no control over, but we're subject to the same pains as as all the residents are. So we really can't control the tariffs. We can't control our electricity bills going up the way they are, or the utility bills. But bottom line is, everyone in Eatontown has some very, very tough decisions to make. Some people may have to decide, about what they're going to buy at the grocery store. Some people may be deciding, hey, we can't do a family vacation right now. There are very tough decisions that the residents have to make, and the Eatontown, uh, the town fathers and town mothers, the town council should be subject to those same decisions. There are some tough decisions that have to be made. We have to, the first thing that people ask me, Kevin, what are you going to do to lower taxes? Well, that's a very complicated question. I'm not going to lie about that. But the first thing that we can do is control expenses. Control the check that we're writing out. Maybe there are certain projects that maybe we should take a step back from. Maybe there are certain things that we should analyze again, maybe rebid it out, save money. We have to save the expenditure part of our budget. That's the first thing that we can make a positive change, and that will hit us in our pocketbook and lower in the form of lower taxes. So that's something that I'm going to look at. That's something that Bob is going to look at. Is let's look at the budget. Let's see what can be trimmed, and let's look at that and start with there and move forward from there.
This November, Eatontown has a choice. A better future starts with leaders who care about transparency, fairness, and smart growth. Kevin Gonzalez, longtime resident, business owner, and dedicated community coach, has spent decades serving our families. Bob Berg, retired officer, educator, and public works advocate, brings integrity and experience that Eatontown can trust. Together, Kevin and Bob are ready to prioritize what matters: your voice, your safety, your future. Vote Kevin Gonzalez and Bob Berg for Eatontown Borough Council, because our town deserves better. Vote November 4th for a better Eatontown.
I am Kevin Gonzalez, and I approve this message. You brought up the pilot.
Hey, don't put that on me. It's on social media.
Okay. The pilot. Now, just, pilot stands for payment in lieu of taxes. So basically, Netflix, when they've come in, we just found out last week. So, we're trying to study this now, and we're seeing a lot of stuff that's put out there on Facebook by the mayor. But let's face it, he's been talking with Netflix probably for months about this. We've just found out about it last week. So what a pilot is, payment in lieu of taxes, is they give us a lump sum of money, and that will take the place of taxes that they're going to pay over a 20, 30, or 40-year period. Sounds great. However, one thing that I don't think was done, and as a resident, I would like to see this, is was there a market study? So, for example, that huge parcel that is going to be Netflix, how much money would we have received in taxes during that same time frame? So, yeah, they're going to give us $47 million, but out of those $47 million over a 20, 30-year period, how much in taxes would we have received during that time frame? Guarantee it's going to be a lot more than that. So, and also when we get that money, it also can affect Eatontown in this manner. We have, if they give us $47 million, $47 million, out of those $47 million, we're obligated to spend 5% has to go to the county. We are not obligated to share not 1 cent with the Board of Education. And that should be concerning to a lot of individuals, because if there's no plan to share any of that with the Board of Education, Board of Education has their budget to meet as well. If they're not going to have any revenue, or a portion of their revenue goes down because they're not getting that, because usually, as we know, our tax dollars, 60% of our tax bill goes to to the
That is
schools.
fascinating, by the way. Did anybody know that 60% of our budget goes to the school system?
Right. Not just the local.
Looks like I'm the only one who didn't.
Yeah, regional school system too. If you
That's
include them
crazy.
both, it's a close to 60%.
Yeah.
But they're going to miss out on a portion of that. So then they have to raise taxes as well. So overall, there's a lot. I'm not denying that there are going to be some good things from the pilot, but there are so many questions that still have to be answered. And I think we're getting a very rosy presentation from the mayor in terms of its benefits, but I think we really have to look at the negatives. Thank you.
Yeah. First of all, the pilot program is so new.
Mhm.
I would also say it's confusing, but
Extreme.
and help me. There's rumors out there, and people talk. $47 million are supposed to be generated or given or passed on from Netflix to Eatontown in some form, shape, or capacity for infrastructures or.
Well,
yeah. So let's dive into it.
Okay.
Please educate, because it's important to manage our expectations as residents.
yes. Now, my understanding the way a pilot works is, like I mentioned before, 5% has to go to the county, and that's it. We can spend the money in any kind of taxpayer relief. You can take that at a 47, I think 45.6 or 40, a little over $45 million. We can use in taxpayer relief. Now, if there's a contractual relationship between Netflix and the town to say, oh, okay, you have to use this for infrastructure, then obviously that's in the contract. But someone had to put that in the contract in order for that to be honored. So that's something I would like to know. How, if there is a provision in there to use that money for infrastructure, how did that provision get in there? Because it's not a requirement.
Yeah.
That is something that was negotiated and contractually put in there. And ironically, as everyone knows, there is a project that the council is considering for a new borough hall that's going to cost anywhere between $40 to $50 million.
Pause. I need, that's a highlight reel.
Mhm.
See, when I heard that $50 million, I mean, respectfully, I'm not an architect, nor am I in construction. I've never done a blueprint, but $50 million. I mean, respectfully, that is a lot. If I heard 5 to 10, I would say that's a lot of money, but all right, justified. But $50 million for one building.
Right.
I mean, I could, again, I'm not in office, but I could think of so many other areas that we can allocate some of that money to, whether it's the craziness of traffic, 36 and 35. I mean, it's getting crazier and crazier by the day. The Eatontown was a square mall. It's supposed to have 1,000 apartments.
Correct.
That's potentially 2,000 to 4,000 more cars that we're going to have. How are we going to be able to do this? Bob, please.
That's what I want to do. I want to put the building that he wants on a ballot or on a referendum. I want the people of Eatontown to vote.
Has that ever been done before? Is that possible to be done?
It's possible. Yeah,
The Board of Ed did that. I'm going to cut you off, but yes, just as a little history, something that massive has not been done that I'm aware of on the Eatontown side, but on the Board of Ed, I want to say 20 years ago, they had to redo all the schools. And at the time it was, I think, a $15 million proposal to redo all the schools. And that was done about 20 years ago. So, something of that scope in terms of having the residents vote on it can be done, but I don't know if it's been done at the municipal level yet. Sorry to cut you off.
So no, but I want the people of Eatontown to have a say in it.
Yes,
I
agree.
mean, for $50 million.
Yeah.
Up to 50 million.
Up to 50, with the demolition and everything, it's going to be that. I want the people of Eatontown to have a say in it.
Yeah.
So either, I know we couldn't get it on the ballot for this November, but we can definitely get in a referendum because they do that.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I'm gonna do a live polling in here. By show of hands, you or anybody that had their property taxes gone up in the last year or 2 or 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, cool. So, and this is just a small group that we have in here. I can tell you about, I'm involved in the PTA. I coach my kids' soccer team. My assistant coach. Everybody's talking about how in the world do the taxes go up year after year after year. And look, we understand inflation. We understand this is what happens. It's normal, but it's getting crazier and crazier. You two gentlemen are going to have a front row seat on that property tax conversation. What can we expect? What is possible? What are you going to be doing to represent us if elected?
First of all, we have to look at what kind of debt we have right now, and if he's going to use his $47 million for a borough building, all right, to make it brand new, um, it's going to cost more. It's going to cost because I mean the building has to be demolished. You have all the analysis that has to go, traffic, with the soil. But I mean, just there's so much that goes on with it. And I know it's just the beginning, but there's so much to look at. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to really study what's going on. And like I said, my thing is, I would like to get a vote here and see how many people would want to vote, put it on a referendum or the ballot. Because I mean, I think that's important.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you it would be a no.
Yeah, I bet.
Because people, I mean, taxes, I don't care if that money is spent on that building. They're going to have to find money for services, for the police, the fire, the EMS. I mean, the EMS right now we're in trouble with. I mean, we need a couple of rigs. We need more people. So, I mean, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, you and I are traditional business owners, brick and mortar, and we get impacted first when economy hit, when tariffs, when inflation. Can you talk to the small business owner in Eatontown, which is the backbone of any and all economies? We hire, we move the money around, and no disrespect to the working community, but it is the traditional business that gives the W-2 the opportunity to work. What can we expect from an elected candidate?
Well,
Gonzalez.
there has Eatontown used to have a reputation of being a town that was sort of held their arm out in terms of finding ways to not bring in new businesses through different manner, whether it's inspections or what have you. We have to be more welcoming to businesses. Like I said, we can't help the tariffs, but you have these businesses that are coming in and they want to own their business in the Eatontown. They want to stimulate the Eatontown economy. We have to come up with ways to make that easier, whether it's from an inspection standpoint, a permit standpoint, approval standpoint. That has to be easier. And it's just something that we have to look at. Some of the procedures, at least when I was on the council 4 years ago, they were antiquated back then. I don't know if they've been updated, but I think we need to look at all of the policies and everything regarding bringing a new business in town, especially now with Netflix coming in, with the mall coming in. This area is going to be revitalized. I really, truly believe that. And Bob and I have to get in there to bring our ideas, our values to this community as it's starting to grow again. Now that Fort Monmouth is gone and this area is being transformed, Bob and I can be there and try to make sure that Eatontown becomes that town where you want to raise your family, buy a house, raise a family, own a business. We can be that way again.
Yeah.
And I think Bob and I can do that.
Bob, if we can dive into, managing the expectations, because look, at least from my conversations, guess what everybody, oh my God, Eatontown, we're going to have Netflix, we're going to have the mall, we're going to build from top to bottom, we're going to be the East Coast modern day gold rush. And you and I have had some conversation where you had to humble my thinking a little bit, of slow your roll. There's a lot to be done before we take the fruit of our labor. Is Netflix and all this hype around it, $1 billion studio right around the corner from us, is it going to increase the value of the homes, lower the taxes? Everybody here is going to be rich. So I need some context to that, if you don't mind, because it's important that we all hear that, because we're all giving this paint off. Everything's going to be okay.
I mean, you hear people say, "Oh, I'm going to go over here. I want to be like a fill-in. I want to do this." That's not going to happen right away. I mean, I was just taking them right through the ground yesterday, and I mean, they're working hard. They're doing a lot, but it's going to take time. I know that they want to have the contract signed by the end of December, but by the time they get the building set up, by the time the mall gets set up, I mean, there's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of money that's going to be spent in that meantime. So, I mean, it's not going to be all roses in the beginning. It's going to take time, but 5 years down the road, which we might talk about later, I mean, you're going to see some nice things. I mean, Netflix is going to make jobs in the area.
Sure.
You're going to have new businesses that open up. Hopefully, our school systems get better, better, and they have more money. It's going to happen, but it's not going to happen right away.
Okay. Well, let me stay with you. You've had a career long in law enforcement. Nationally, this administration, from a GOP standpoint, pushed hard on border laws. And look, for those of you who are trying to figure me out right now, I was born in Morocco. I love America. I was a Muslim. I converted to Christianity. I'm married to a Colombian. My kids are mixed. My mom is Muslim. My dad is Catholic. Good luck figuring me out. I'm a human of them all. For those who are trying to is he in this side or that side? I am for the right thing. And if I may say, I loved it when Arnold Schwarzenegger said it best. He said, when you come as an immigrant, you are a guest in somebody's house. So you are to abide by their house rules. So I did it the right way. I'm proud that my wife did it the right way. My mom, my sister, we stood on the lines and we paid the heavy duty price. And it was not easy. And thank God I am in the greatest country in the world. Now, back to my question, there's a lot of confusion in our communities, with the identity of the GOP, are they anti, which leads to issues and conflict. You've been in law enforcement, therefore you've dealt with some of the craziest conflicts that there could be, right? How are you planning to bring Eatontown residents together, regardless of background, belief, creed, faith, and so on and so forth?
Well, I mean, it comes from the top. I think when Jack gets in there, he's going to have the 21 counties. He's going to square them away. And we're going to be one of them. And I believe what we got to do in Eatontown is just have our police force give them what they need to fight crime, because that's fed. The fire department, give them what they need to put out fires and get that EMS on board, just with a couple new rigs and volunteers. And just to say, we have to give incentives to the people that are working for Eatontown too. Because I mean, they're doing this, on their own. And I mean, we have to give them incentives to want to work for Eatontown. So I mean, in the future, we just got to have the police department. We got to give them all the equipment that they need. We just got new tasers, by the way, for them.
Which I believe is a good move compared to bullets.
It's a great move, because what it does is it stuns and it hurts. And when I was in the police department, with the spray, they sprayed us all. Okay, we had to get sprayed. Now with the tasers, that's a different thing. I told I wasn't there with tasers because I wouldn't want to be tased.
My sister, me and my dad, she's a police officer in Milltown, so she's told us a whole lot of stories. She just graduated this summer. Badge 108, love you, sis. So I appreciate that, and I'm gonna come back to you in a second on the law info. Yeah, please.
And I just want to chime in there. Bob mentioned some important stuff that we have to make sure our police department, our fire department, and our EMS are properly equipped, whether that's with new rig or some other device or apparatus that they may need. Well, this might be a good time to, if we're talking to Netflix, and if there is a pilot inevitable, and it's inevitable, maybe they should help provide more stuff for our emergency services. Maybe that should be some of the money should be going towards them. It's just a consideration.
Yeah.
This November, Eatontown has a choice. A better future starts with leaders who care about transparency, fairness, and smart growth. Kevin Gonzalez, longtime resident, business owner, and dedicated community coach, has spent decades serving our families. Bob Berg, retired officer, educator, and public works advocate, brings integrity and experience that Eatontown can trust. Together, Kevin and Bob are ready to prioritize what matters: your voice, your safety, your future. Vote Kevin Gonzalez and Bob Berg for Eatontown Borough Council, because our town deserves better. Vote November 4th for a better Eatontown.
I am Kevin Gonzalez, and I approve this message.
Oh, yeah, that's solid. All right, well, since you were excited about chiming in,
Sure.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Great, yes.
Take a deep breath. Well, the truth of the matter is, no matter what your party affiliation, the Jeffrey Epstein scandal has rocked the nation. And depending on your belief system, in one way or another, whether a conspiracy theorist or just a logical-minded individual, my heart with full compassion, love, as myself. I told you privately, I have a very public life. I open about it. I've dealt with physical and sexual abuse at an early stage in my life, and it sucks to say the least. But I want to know whether that circumstance leads to the idea that the powerful, the rich, the people in positions of authority can just get away with anything, and how do we prevent anything like that, or a monster like that could ever come out of Eatontown? Specifically for me as a parent, I trust that my children are playing in the parks, are enjoying their school. I don't even want the idea of anything like that ever happening in our neighborhood, but there is a lot of it at a national and a global scale. What is your take on the whole circumstance? And I'm sorry, it's a heavy loaded conversation, but
no,
I gotta ask as far. Yeah.
First of all, my heart does go out for those, children who are now adults and what they are dealing with and what they will continue to deal with. But how can we make sure that doesn't happen in Eatontown? Well, I'm sorry, but every month or every couple of weeks, you're reading about some horrible story in the paper, and you want to protect your kids. And that's what it comes down to. That's protecting your kids, making sure that we're doing the right things, that the police department, again, has the right equipment, has the right technology to find these predators out there. Maybe looking at seeing how are we vetting our coach. Not saying we've ever had an issue with any kind of coach in town, or we're gonna have, but should we be more, vet coaches in general who are going to be with our children? Should there be a more exhaustive vetting process to make sure that the right people are with our kids? Our kids are our biggest, biggest value is our kids, and we have to make sure we protect them.
That moment that you just had is called ineffable. It's a feeling you can't describe.
I can't describe it.
Yeah,
I can't describe it.
I
Our
totally
kids are
get it.
everything.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I appreciate you, Mr. Berg from law enforcement, care to chime in as far as the whole circumstance with Jeffrey Epstein in relations to where we are in Eatontown today?
My heart goes out to those individuals that were abused, and like Kevin says, we here in Eatontown, anybody that deals with our children must be vetted. And that the background is important. So that's one thing. I think they're doing that now. I'm hoping they're doing that now. But when we get in here,
you have to
make sure they're doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's very, very important. Anybody dealing with children has to have it back.
Speaking of children, education, you've mentioned earlier that 60% of our budgets go to school systems, and with all the nuances that are coming in town and the potential new residents and so on and so forth, what can you do from your vantage point as councilman in regards to supporting the parents that we are already tight as is with, whether it's tariffs or the property taxes, or talk to me about some of your
plans.
plans.
About the property tax. Right now, everyone, when we get our house assessment, you hold your breath. What's it going to look like? How much does it go up? Because our property taxes are based on a percentage of your house assessment. So, and in the past, your house was assessed, I believe, every 3 to 5 years. So at least for 3 to 5 years, there was some stability. Your taxes go up? Sure, they went up, but your house assessment was the same for that amount of time. Well, now our houses are getting assessed every year. Now, yes, the market is valuing them higher. You could sell your house, you could sell it for more, but a lot of us are living on fixed incomes or incomes that we didn't have. Now we have, our expenses are going up. You mentioned tariffs earlier in this conversation.
Yeah, we heard earlier, I think the movie streaming platforms about to be tariffed 100% if they don't produce in the United States.
It's insane.
So, that little $27 or $14 or $7.99 subscription is about to go crazy higher to compensate for doing business in here. So,
yeah. So what I think we should do is let's see if we can get back to that other program. Give the residents some stability for a few years with their home value. And yes, it will go up eventually, but this getting assessed every year, I don't know if I agree with that. I want to see if there's some way we can get out of it. I did hear that there is a town or towns, plural, that have already filed lawsuits to remove themselves from that arrangement. I'd like to find out more about that and see if that's something that Eatontown might want to consider.
Bob?
Yeah, I agree. It's, like when it was every 3 years, 5 years or whatever, your taxes, they went up, but that was it.
Is there a
And then,
possibility that we can go to a different assessment period instead of every year?
I don't know. That's what we have
That's
to
it.
do too. Yeah, that's what we do.
Are you anticipating some opposition once you're in office? And gloves on, or how are we going about this? Let us pray and turn the other cheek.
No, when we get in, we're going to be looking into that because that's the number one thing. I mean, everybody raise their hands.
Yeah,
There's your taxes going.
yeah.
So I mean, that's the number one thing we got to do. Is to look at that how they assess the houses here.
Can I stay with you on a second on that? What can we as residents do, assuming you do make it in office? What can we do to make sure that your agenda does move forward? Is there anything that we can do? I mean, because yesterday you said, it's mind-boggling how empty the town halls are sometimes. Like, is that an element that can help? Like, talk to me.
It all goes back to transparency. And I think if we send a newsletter out frequently, I think the people would read the newsletter, they would know what's going on, and they would come to the council meetings, and they would approach us with, hey, we need this done, we need that done. I mean, the way it's set up now, nobody goes to the council meetings because I don't know why. I don't. I mean, you would think like with this crew right here, how everybody raised their hand with the taxes, they'd be furious, they'd be here, but it's just like they don't do it. So what I want to do is get transparent, communicate, get open, and let people know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I think that way we could bring Eatontown into the administration.
Brace yourself. We have a new segment we do every single day. We're going to start including Eatontown in it once you're in. Kevin, beyond schools, how do you see expanding opportunities for youth, whether sports, after school programs, just so that families would value? I saw a comment today. Somebody say Eatontown needs more beautification. We hear all these different projects, but we lack a lot in terms of restaurants and things to do with the children. And they felt like, man, I don't have the luxury to raise kids the way I would want to raise them here in Eatontown. Is that something that's going to be on your desk, or is there any?
I'll look at any program that'll help our kids. And I know that the programs that are involved kids are mostly run by the schools, but we have to look at some sort of synergistic ways that we could help the schools. I think that a way that we can also save money too is through shared services. I mean, there was a time where we used to do, when Eatontown used to have a bus fleet before they privatized it, we used to do their mechanic work on their buses. There was a time that Eatontown DPW used to do the school's lawn services. I don't know if that's happening right now, but if it's not, maybe we should revisit that. So there are some ways that we could share services, save some taxpayer dollars, because let's face it, it's all coming out of the same pocket. But getting back to your question, maybe there are some shared services. Maybe there are some things that Eatontown has, the municipal properties, that maybe the schools can use.
Yeah.
And I've obviously, in terms of some things to make our kids safer, maybe our police department, again, if they're not doing it yet, maybe they could help with some of the vetting for some of the programs that maybe Eatontown School may want to do with their students, and maybe they're limited for one reason or another. Maybe our Eatontown Police Department could help them.
Yeah.
So there's so many things we can do, but we have to find out where the needs are and address them on a case by case basis.
Yeah, I'm not running for office, but if I may just share my perspective as a father, if you help us out as residents and do what you're supposed to do, what we're voting you in office for, with those taxes, because if every family has a couple of $100 extra a month back in their pocket, they can do some fun activities. They can have an extra thing to do with the kids and so on and so forth. And I speak for the other thing I have here. Coach Troy is my assistant. He's watching. He will kill me if I don't answer this question. He does compliance, he does numbers and so on and so forth. But he stated, the taxes do go into the schools that are in the Eatontown districts, including Mount Regional High School, which is technically Tinton Falls. How is the taxes allocated? Because we're not allowed to play in certain schools that are outside of Eatontown, although they get some taxes from Eatontown. Is that something that can be looked at?
I think that's more of a Board of Ed question, in terms of how that funding is accomplished. I'm not sure, because Eatontown Board of Ed, they have their own CFO, their own own administrator, finance administrator.
So
So
let me handle that real quick.
Yeah.
Troy, you pressed the wrong number. Go on hold. I'll come back to you.
yeah. So unfortunately, that may be a better Board of Ed question.
Gotcha.
But we'll help them however we can.
We do have a personal counsel that has that as their aspect.
Gotcha.
So I mean, they can.
So get involved and hold accountable the people in office to deliver on what they're supposed to be delivering on. Okay, beautiful. I'll stay with you, Bob. How do you plan to bring those national conservative values down to an everyday level to Eatontown? Because again, there is a divide. There's no doubt about that. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the far left and there's the far right, and then there is me. It's like I say all the time, people try to figure me out, but I'm for common sense, as Kevin always says it. How do you plan to bring those, conservative values to Eatontown while still including everybody that has different ideals?
Well, I think the big thing is to put money in their pockets. I mean, look at, like Kevin says, people work, these jobs and it's paycheck to paycheck. I mean, they don't have an extra $20 to do this or to do that. With Netflix coming in, with the mall, with different things that are going to be happening, I believe that with Kevin and I on the council, that we can make a difference. We can put more money in parents' pockets so that they can take their kids to Disney. They can do things that they used to do. I mean, right now, people are working 2 and 3 jobs just to get along.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's tough. So, I mean, we have to do something, and we have to do it. We have to do it now. We have to make a change now. Because if we don't do it now, in town, I've gone to a lot of doors, with our palm cards and talking to people. And I can't tell you how many people have told me that I got to move. I can't afford these taxes. I can't afford this. I mean, we have to do something to where, we have to bring the taxes down, because I mean, or at least make them stable to where they don't go up.
Yeah.
So that people do have money in their pockets and they can go to the store, they can buy their kids things, and and at least live it down.
I love that. Kevin, as we're coming closer to at least the end of our segment, before we open it to our audience to ask their questions, because that's where the popcorn really comes out. If you can take a minute, in a few, 1-2 sentences or more, whatever you need, share with us your vision. This is, take a look at that camera one right in front of you. And let us know, my name is Kevin Gonzalez and I approve this message. Your final pitch.
Well, I pledge to the Eatontown resident that Bob and I were going to bring a common sense approach to government. And I think that is what is sorely lacking. We will look at fiscal, we will have fiscal responsibility. We will ask the questions that you want to know, that questions that you have. And we're just not going to take the same old response as, oh, that's the way it's always been done. That's not a way of moving forward. That's not a way of advancing. We have Netflix coming in. We have the mall's property, their construction going on. We're at a crossroads here in Eatontown, and I really think the right decisions have to be made and have to be made right now. And I think Bob and I are the ones that can do that and can deliver that for the Eatontown taxpayer. And like Bob mentioned, even if Bob and I do win, it becomes a 3-3 vote, and the mayor breaks a tie. But that's a good scenario to have, because I think we'll get a lot more information and a lot more studying that will go on, because obviously there are going to be different analyses that are going to be done that may have not been done on a 5-1 council, because because it is thought that he has the votes to pass whatever he wants to pass. Now he has to try to convince 3 people or at least one person to get his way, so he doesn't have to vote. Either that or he votes and he breaks the tie. So I think it's great. I think it's great. And the other thing too, if I can just point out here, is in terms of, now I know everyone that's on the council, and they're all great people, great guys and great gals. And when you talk about, you mentioned taking the gloves off. I don't look at it that way. On the national level, there's a lot of vitriol across the aisle, and my personal opinion is they look at the person across the aisle. They're the enemy. And I don't look at it that way. They're not the enemy. They're the opposition. Okay. This country needs two parties to guarantee that the minority voice is heard. So we can agree to disagree, and move on and be gentlemen and gentle ladies. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be a battle. They are the opposition in some cases. And to be honest with you, I want to say, probably 85% of the votes that council does are 6-0 votes. They're not contested at all. But we're talking about those contested topics that would go down party lines. So I just want to bring that up too. I think that Bob and I can bring that balance to the council, and I look forward to serving the residents. And I asked them to vote for us on November 4th.
Bob?
Same thing. Yes, absolutely. We want the people of Eatontown to be respected. We want you to have, what you want. We want you to, be able to work and be able to have your kids go to a good school, have a little extra money in your pocket, and just live life. We want you to just live a good life in Eatontown, and put a star in Eatontown. 5 years from now, I'll tell you what, this is what I say. I see Kevin and I in our second term. All right. I see taxes. Taxes are stable. I see Netflix now doing real well, hiring. Now they're looking for people to be extras, like out in the street, people are in line waiting. All right. The mall, it's got all kinds of new all kinds of new businesses in there, and they're doing well. And I mean, they're businesses that people want to really go to. So I 5 years from now, I think this town is going to be great, because we're going to make it there.
That vision was so powerful. The psychic lady across the street just got mad at us. Ladies and gentlemen, I am super, super excited and grateful that we've had the opportunity to put these two gentlemen on the record and really state their core values. I myself have an announcement. I'm kidding. I'm not running for anything. I'm not running for anything, but I am super excited that I've had the opportunity to share this platform. We are located at Eatontown. We love Eatontown residents. And shameless plug, visit us at themestudios.net for anything that you need for production, newscasts, PRs, and so on and so forth. I want to give a huge, huge shout out before we open up to our audience questions to our chief executive producer, Sebastian Ali Midawi, right here behind the computer. I also want to give, also to our chief elevator officer, our true CEO, Isabel, right on the side. And it'll be terribly horrible if I didn't give a shout out to the woman that really is behind everything that I am, and that is my beautiful bride, and our chief operations officer, Claudia Maritza Midawi. Thank you for Carol. Thank you for Denise. Thank you for Kathy as a chairwoman for keeping us in check. She is in the corner giving us those eyes off. Don't you dare. But I believe we've done it right. And I believe we've given you gentlemen the opportunity to share what you needed to get out there. So make sure November 4th, get out there and vote. Make sure you're registered to vote, because the worst thing you can do is nothing at all. You cannot complain after November 4th if you didn't vote.
This November, Eatontown has a choice. A better future starts with leaders who care about transparency, fairness, and smart growth. Kevin Gonzalez, longtime resident, business owner, and dedicated community coach, has spent decades serving our families. Bob Berg, retired officer, educator, and public works advocate, brings integrity and experience that Eatontown can trust. Together, Kevin and Bob are ready to prioritize what matters: your voice, your safety, your future. Vote Kevin Gonzalez and Bob Berg for Eatontown Borough Council, because our town deserves better. Vote November 4th for a better Eatontown.
I am Kevin Gonzalez, and I approve this message.